If you are looking for top-of-the-line tax software so that you can DIY your tax returns for the 2019-2020 year, you're probably considering TurboTax. We've all heard of TurboTax. In this video, I am covering a review for the 2019-2020 software and what you need to know in terms of pricing to get your taxes done with TurboTax. Hey guys, welcome back to The College Investor, investing and personal finance for millennials. We're talking about TurboTax today, and we all know that this is a major player in the tax software industry. And so I was wondering, what exactly are you getting with TurboTax, and is it really free? You may be able to file your taxes for free with TurboTax under a very specific condition, and that is if you are a W-2 income earner and if you qualify for the earned income tax credit or the child tax credit. So if you have one of those two things plus the W-2, you could file your federal and your state return for $0. However, you can't take any other deductions. So if you have things like paying on student loan interest or you have a health savings account, you wouldn't be able to qualify for that free plan. You'd have to upgrade to the deluxe or the premier plan. And let's go over those pricing packages on TurboTax's website. Okay, so TurboTax has a couple of different plans for you depending on your situation. So I've covered the free edition, but I think most people are probably going to align with the deluxe edition or the premier edition. So deluxe is $40, and then you'll get to add some homeowner tax breaks. It looks like you can get some one-on-one help from a TurboTax specialist, all these different things. And then I like how it has a breakdown of, okay, I could get tax deductions here, mortgage and property deductions, and so on. You may even end up falling under the Premier plan, which is $70, in which you can auto-import your investment info and tax data, which is a big time saver. I definitely appreciate being able to import forms rather than typing them in manually. It leaves less room for error. And if you are self-employed, then you'll be looking at the $90 self-employed plan. What I like about this one is it also includes 1 year of QuickBooks. In fact, if you are a QuickBooks user now, you can import your data directly into TurboTax, which saves time. However, if you are just getting started and you want to add QuickBooks to your business plan, you can get that if you've not been a QuickBooks user in the past. And it's true that TurboTax often has high prices. In fact, we found that they are at the top of the market when we compared these to other software companies out there. So you'll want to do your due diligence. I wouldn't recommend the deluxe or the premier plans if price is a deciding factor for you. Also, a side note, TurboTax tends to adjust their prices throughout the tax season, so you'll want to lock in your rate early on. That's typically in December and January when the prices will be offered at its lowest. So if you plan on doing deluxe, premier, or self-employed, you'll want to lock in those rates as soon as possible. Once you have aligned with the right plan for you, you can go ahead and jump into the tax software. Let me show you a complete walkthrough of what the TurboTax software looks like once you're inside.
When you first get started with TurboTax, you'll need to obviously sign up. If you have been a previous QuickBooks user or a Mint user, you can use the same login information to log into TurboTax. I'll go ahead and use new information so you can see exactly what it looks like when you sign up for the first time. When you first log in, there will be a screen to point you in the right direction. So you can click on any of these little boxes and then it'll take you to the right step. So I'm going to select that I have a job, a W-2. And if I click on anything else, it's going to recommend the right package for me. So when I clicked I'm self-employed, then it's going to recommend the self-employed plan. So for a simple W-2 return, it's going to stick us into the free edition. So let's go ahead and click File for $0. Then you'll consent to providing your information through the software. And then it'll just prompt you through the different questions. I really like how simplified the dashboard is. There's not a whole lot of areas to click out of. And I think the questions are really straightforward. I don't feel like this is confusing at all. This is cool. It says if you have a PDF copy of last year's return, then you can upload it and start pulling info, which is really nice. For the sake of this tutorial, I'll just go ahead and type my info. I really like this screen too. Let's get an idea of your financial picture. So there's a lot of different things that could have occurred throughout the year. So you're just going to click on the box that makes sense for you, and then it'll walk you through the right forms to fill out. Then remember that the free edition only counts if you're a W-2 income earner or if you qualify for the earned income tax credit or the child tax credit. So let's go ahead and keep going. Then you'll just input your personal information. I'll go ahead and just put in the dummy information for now. Then we'll get to the filing status, which is single in this example, and click continue. And then it'll give you a nice summary. I like how at the end of inputting my information that it'll give me a quick summary just to make sure everything was put in correctly. Then TurboTax is going to try to upsell you here. We're still in the free edition, but it's also asking if we'd like to get advice and specialist support. I would go ahead and skip this for now, especially if you are filing a simple tax return or you've had experience filing your taxes on your own before as well. So you can see up at the top of the screen, the tax return is broken into different sections. So you'll first start with wages and income, followed by deductions and credits, and then other miscellaneous tax situations, and then you'll do a review of your federal return before filing. Once you get done filing your W-2 information, it's going to show you your federal refund so far. This number can change as you input new information, and TurboTax will give you the best estimate of what your potential refund or the potential amount that you'll owe. And then they'll go ahead and check for more information about your 2019 income by answering a couple of simple questions. The cool thing about this here is you can always click the Learn More button, and there's going to be a pop-up window that explains why they're asking this information, and then sometimes what forms that you would need in order to fill out everything correctly. So that's really nice. So far, everything within the TurboTax software is really easy and simple to use. I like that everything is broken down into layman's terms. I don't feel that I am confused by anything so far, and the questions that are asked throughout the process, it seems very guided, so I don't have to go looking for things. All right, now we're going to jump into the second section, which is the deductions and credits. Then once you get to the part where you need to pick either standard or itemized, I like how it gives you the visual of showing you'll get the most out of your tax return if you pick one or the other. And here it says the standard deduction is best for you. So you can always change that, but because I'm just inputting a simple W-2, I'll stick with the standard deduction. And then we'll hit section 3, any uncommon tax situations. And I like how, as you answer the questions, it's just very simple. Do you want to apply your refund to next year's return? And it just makes it really simple to click yes or no. I don't feel like this software is clunky at all. If you have any questions, things are broken down for you in these simple windows. And then if you feel like you're missing something, you can always type in the search box for something that may pertain to your financial situation. I really like TurboTax and the simplicity of their dashboard. Then you can see up at the top that they have this nice little bar of showing you what your potential federal refund and state refund will be. And then as you complete your federal return, it's going to transfer your tax information into your state return. And that makes it really simple and speeds up the process. All right, so since I'm filing a state return in California, it's going to ask if any of these situations apply. And then if they do, you can click the start button and walk through those prompts. If they don't apply to you, you can actually just scroll to the bottom and click done with adjustments. And then you just follow the prompts and questions as they pop up. All right, so it looks like there's a couple of different state credits that I could opt for. So again, you would just click start and then walk through those prompts. If you don't qualify, they'll even cut you off before you can even start clicking through the questions. So it says, it looks like you don't qualify for California Earned Income Tax Credit, and then you can click continue. And then as you complete things, it's going to pop up this gray button right here where it says revisit. So I know I've already looked into this area, and then I can continue down the line if I want to. Otherwise, if it doesn't apply, you can just scroll to the bottom again and click done with credits and taxes. All right, then it's going to do a quick check of my California taxes before I'm ready to file. If some of your tax forms aren't ready just yet, they'll give you a quick list of those things that you would need to look for. Most forms will be available early to mid-January. So once those forms are available, you can log back into TurboTax and input that information. All right, and then one more time, they're going to try to upsell us again with this plus help and support. This just helps you if you were to ever go through an audit. It's got a couple of different things here that you could use, but since I'm filing a simple return, I don't think I need to spend $30 on help and support if I don't really need it. So I'm going to click not now. And then as you progress through the software, you'll see exactly where you're at in the menu. So we started with inputting my personal information, federal, state review, and now we're ready to file. There are 3 steps to filing in TurboTax. You'll start by reviewing your order, click to input your refund information, and then save and file your returns. So because I did a simple W-2 return, I am in the free edition, which is awesome. So I'll go and click payment options. And then in order to file, you'll just have to provide your name and address. Then the IRS will have to finalize some of the forms, typically happening in January. Once the forms are finalized, then we'll be able to go back in and input where we want a potential refund to go, and then save and file your returns. So you can just sit tight, input all of your information, log back into TurboTax, and then file your return.
Okay, so free users who qualify with that W-2, the Earned Income Tax Credit, or the Child Tax Credit, you definitely want to jump on TurboTax. It's free. It's absolutely free for you. Self-employed users will also find some benefits here, especially if you want to add QuickBooks and you're new to QuickBooks. They'll add that in a year plan for free, in addition to the $90 you pay with the self-employed plan. Personally, I have a hard time seeing TurboTax really benefiting users who fall into those deluxe or premier options. You'd probably have better luck using tax software at a bargain deal such as TaxSlayer, which I really like, H&R Block, or Free Tax USA. I found the software really easy to use, the navigation, everything was put into layman's terms. I didn't feel confused while I was using TurboTax. So if you're wanting that hand-holding, definitely want to check this one out for your 2019 taxes and filing them in 2020. For more information on tax reviews, be sure to visit thecollegeinvestor.com.